last U.S. forces left Afghanistan just over 24 hours ago, ending the longest war in history. President Biden today forcefully.
Daniel?
Yes, sir.
Do I need to turn my camera on or something? I don't have.
You can if you want. You don't have to.
I don't know how to get me on there.
If you turn your camera on, you can.
Well, I think it has to be on automatically, isn't it?
No, you have the option of turning it on.
Well, I don't see that.
Did you get it? There you go.
Okay.
Look at that. You're sitting right next to our councilman. You see that?
No, I'm sitting on top of Aaron Joseph's head. Hi, Aaron.
Yeah. Excellent. All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Buckner Terrace Neighborhood Association homeowners meeting for August. We'll get started. We have some more people joining us, but we'll admit them as we go along the best that we can. The first thing that we would like to do is just say welcome to everybody. And we'll have a couple presentations this evening. So we have a couple guests in the group. We have Mr. Baldwin and Mr. Matt Johnson, who will be presenting information about the new development that they're proposing at the Timberlawn site. So we'll get into that in just a minute, but let's take care of a few housekeeping things at the moment. And let me share my screen so that we can look at the minutes. All right, I'm gonna do this. Oops, no, not that. It's easier than it looks sometimes, y'all. Or it's not as easy as it looks sometimes. Is that the way to put it? Sorry. All right. So the first order of business is that we have our meeting minutes. I have them on the screen. Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
From August 20 or July 27th. Honestly, it was a very short meeting. The major thing that we talked about was there was no voting items, agenda items during that meeting, but we did meet our new principal, who is also with us again this evening, and we'll have a couple words from him in a little bit. But these are the minutes. If I could get a motion to approve these minutes.
I so move. Jean Larson.
Thank you, Jean. And second, Ms. Linda Barnum. Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And we also have our treasurer's report for August. Whoops, I needed the treasurer's report from July. The beginning balance, which was the ending balance, July 1 was 1974 and 7 cents from the treasurer's report that Mr. White presented last month. And this is the treasurer's report for August with the beginning balance of 1974, deposits of $285. So our ending balance is $2,258.07. Can I get a motion to approve this minutes? Patty, thank you. Patty Collins, and seconded by, thanks, Linda. I appreciate that. Linda Stamport. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Same sign. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay. So now that we got the business part of this taken care of. Let's get into some meat and bones for the neighborhood. The first thing that I'd like to do, I think Glass kind of alluded to the fact that he was going to be leaving our area. And unfortunately, he did get the position at a new substation, so he left. So we have a new NPO. Unfortunately, she's on vacation today. So they sent us the next best thing, Officer Joseph. No, Officer Joseph is another good guy, and he works hard for us too. So that's Brian Joseph. He just logged on. Do you have some stats for us and some information about some crimes that happened in our neighborhood, Officer Joseph?
Yes, sir. How are you guys doing today? My name is Officer Joseph. I'm normally in the South Dallas part of Channel 3 or Southeast Division. I'll start with the city stats. So far for the city, we are down almost 2% for the whole year, within the year to date. But Southeast, we're continuing to go down at 16.78% total down. Every category we are down in. Murders, we're down 2%, which is everybody wants to know about that one. Robberies, we're down 41%. Aggravated assaults, we're down 9%. I made a mistake this morning, but I see that you guys had 2 murders in your area on the 25th of this month and the 26th of this month. One was at the 5200 block of Everglade. One was at the 8100 block of East Oral Authority. I didn't get much information about. Well, I didn't get any information about the one on Everglade, but the one at the Super 7, there was an argument between, I believe, friends. One friend pulled a gun out on the other. The other one started shooting like a semi-automatic rifle and struck somebody in the neck, and he was transported to the hospital where he passed away. I see that. I'm also looking at the stats. And see that that Super 7 is a lot of you guys' problems. So what we'll do when we get Miss Hernandez, we'll put more emphasis on that apartment, on that hotel, because it's a big problem. Like I said, I don't have too much on the one on Everglade, but I will get with tomorrow. I'll find out about it and I'll pass it along to Mr. Woods. Another problem that came up is 5747 Samuel Boulevard. There was a robbery there where 3 men came in to rob the place. They took several $1,000s. 3 of them ran off. I caught all 3 of them. So 3 of them were charged with a total of 13 robberies because they tried to rob the individuals inside the gaming room. So that's a total. That was total of 13 aggravated assaults. The owner of that establishment was also charged, and he was charged with keeping a gaming place. So that's a good thing. And Vice seized 50 gaming machines, motherboards, and $5,000 was seized from that location. A warrant will be put out for that person's arrest real soon. So that's another thing. Another thing, when I talked to Vice this morning, there's a spa in that shopping center. Are y'all guys having any problems with that spa in that shopping center?
Spa?
Nobody knows about the spa. I guess nobody goes there then.
The Me Love You Long Time spa?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Has that been a problem for you guys?
Not that
I'm not familiar with it.
I've never went there, so I don't know that it's a problem or not.
Okay.
But it does open seemingly evening hours.
So it doesn't open in the morning, just in the evening?
I mean, I don't know honestly, but that's what it seems to have, an open sign lit up at night.
Okay, in the evenings. Okay. That's
And what's the name?
Ma'am?
I'm sorry?
I said, what was the name?
I think it's R&R relaxation or something like that.
Where is it?
Do you remember where the Montessori school was this is where the the shopping center, there used to be a bank at the end.
Yeah.
It's kind
Yeah.
of behind the tribal auto. That
Yeah.
what Officer Joseph isn't really telling you is that entire shopping strip is full of crap. And we need to be mindful of that area because there's a lot of illegal stuff going on there. So be careful there. Avoid that area as much as you can. Because that's where there was the armed robbery about a week ago. You remember where there was a lot of discussion about the helicopters flying over the neighborhood. They were searching for the 3 suspects that had robbed the participants or the attendees of that gaming shop. They had them all on the ground at gunpoint. And while they did that, somebody outside the group notified the police. The police showed up in the middle of their armed robbery and they kind of baffled it all. So they were able to apprehend them. So kudos to DPD. There was a time that DPD didn't show up with the helicopters in the neighborhood. So we're thankful for their response to our community. They're very responsive to Buckner Terrace and our neighborhood. So we're very thankful for that. And there's a little bit more to the murder on Everglade. They don't know that it was, this is the one, somebody posted about a car ending up in somebody's front yard. There's kind of a question about how the guy was shot, whether it was possibly, somebody else, or if it may have been self-inflicted. So they didn't, when I heard about it, I was told that, the neighborhood they don't feel is in an immediate threat.
Okay.
So that's why we didn't really bring that out as far as.
Okay, but I'll look at it just to make sure tomorrow for you, okay?
Great.
And
All right.
also, I know y'all are pretty good in your neighborhood. Just make sure y'all continue to use that Through On app, especially with that 5700 block of Samuel and the 8100 block of East Thornton, okay? I know I was up there getting some gas on my way home, and I've seen a lot of stuff that's not supposed to be in a good neighborhood like you guys.
It shouldn't be in any neighborhood.
Exactly.
There's a lot of really good neighborhoods that have a lot of bad things. So
yes,
we're thankful that there's not a lot of that that goes on anywhere. But we are definitely appreciative of your services. Buckner Terrace honestly does continue to be one of the lowest crime rates neighborhoods in the area. Less than 1% of our homes are affected by a crime on any given time. So we are pretty safe. So it's when we hear the murder rates and stuff like that, it gets kind of intimidating. But as a general rule, our neighborhood is very, very safe. Some of the stuff on the fringes of the neighborhood, we have some issues with, and we're honestly working with community prosecution. I have a bi-monthly meeting with community prosecution. So, but the only way that we can get things done is if we get reports to 911, to 311, complaining about locations. And if you see crime, if you see drug deals, if you see anything, say something. Because the more people that report stuff, the more we can address it through the city and get things done. So, do you have anything else for us, Officer Joseph?
No, so that's it. Well, thanks for inviting. Just remember your new, I'm sorry, they get my nerves back there. Your new neighborhood police officer is going to be Senior Corporal Christina Hernandez.
I did have an opportunity to meet her very briefly one day, and she seems very nice. She doesn't know a lot about the neighborhood, so she's going to count on all of us to bring her up to speed about what we have in our neighborhood. So hopefully we'll have an in-person meeting real soon that we can bring her to. But I think she'll be back next month, or she'll join us next month for the first time. So
that's correct.
I think everybody should have I think people will like her as well. She said, I don't know anything about your neighborhood, but I want to learn. So she didn't come in, just telling us about our neighborhood. So I like that. So I think she'll do well for us. So does anybody have any questions for Officer Joseph? All right.
Here.
Thank you so much for being here, and we will move on to our next thing. Principal Joseph, our Edna Rowe elementary principal, would you like to say anything to the good neighbors of Buckner Terrace?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to take a few minutes of time. I want to greet you all with a good afternoon and just thank you all for a warm welcome. We've just finished our first month of education back at school, and it's just been awesome. I just want to really express my gratitude for the warm welcome and the open arms that you all have received with. On my arrival, there was one question, and it was, what do you need? Tell us what you need and we'll figure out how we can provide. And that's exactly what's been happening. I hesitate to list off any names just because literally we have packages arriving nearly every day of the wish list that we put out there. So very much appreciated. Our students are going to be better because of it. Teachers are going to be better because of it. Our campus is going to be better because of it. But I do want to thank, because I see you here, Mr. Balzadua, as well as the mayor's office, who sent over a truckload of things, boxes of things that our students are going to be able to benefit from, and our teachers are going to be able to benefit from. Not to mention Walmart, who sent over another truckload on Friday afternoon. So we're loaded with supplies, and we're excited about it. So thank you all for the warm welcome. And if there's anything that we can do, we are ready to receive feedback, input, suggestions, and we're rocking and rolling. We're off to an excellent start.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that update. And as it was funny, you know, we had the Amazon wish list in place for Edna Rowe, and our principal Joseph said, I think we can take that down for right now. I think we've run out of room. So I think that might be, you know, just the testament to our community coming together to say thank you. So, you know, we appreciate you. Thank you for, you know, your hard work, and we appreciate it. You know, there's nothing else we can say other than, you know, thank you, and, you know, let us know what you need. We did update the wish list. We removed most of the school supplies because they've actually got supplied well. But we're going to do some little other things, like I think we're going to order some popcorn stuff. A good neighbor just bought a popcorn maker for them. So we're going to start ordering the supplies for that too. So if you are so inclined and you can do that as well. And our dues will go for that too. So if you haven't paid your dues, it's $24 a year, voluntary. If you feel the desire to support, you know, our efforts, please do that as well. You can do that online at bucknerterrace.org, or you can mail it to our PO box that you can find it on the website. Does anybody have any questions for Principal Joseph before we let him go? I know he's finally getting home on a time to see his family.
I got one question, Daniel.
Yes, sir.
Did he come? Did the other Joseph? Did he come from MLK Learning Center?
No, Principal Joseph. Oh, okay. Maybe he did.
I did spend time at MLK Learning Center. Yes, sir.
Okay, that's where I remember you from. Okay, you're a good dude. Okay.
Look at that, y'all. We got the endorsement now. We can move on and, you know, be happy with our new principal. Now, honestly, I think the only complaint we've had so far is the morning that we had the drums outside welcoming the kids to the community. Yes, it was loud. I'm not sorry that we welcomed those kids back, because as B can attest, when we were there, we couldn't hear ourselves hardly think, but those kids all came up like, wow, they're doing this for us. So it was really a cool welcome back. So as we continue to forge forward with our school, it's just an exciting time. So, and I think they've done pretty good with the COVID precautions. They've had a few cases. But I don't think last week or this week are still pretty clean, that no new cases. So they're, adhering to the guidelines that the district has set up. So, all right. Anything else for Principal Joseph? Just a conversation. We were going to talk about having National Night Out, and we were going to bring it back to Edna Rowe. I don't know that we're going to have that. What is everybody's thoughts on National Night Out? I want to have it. I miss having it. It's an event that I love to do every year. I don't know that it's honestly safe to do it this year. I think that we wait again and postpone it until the next year. I don't like doing half baked plans. I like to have our things very well organized, very well attended. And I want you to have something when you go there. So I want you to have a good meal. We've been eating really well at the last couple. And, I don't know anybody that, we don't have that in place because of the precautions. And we didn't want to secure anything too early because we didn't know where we were going to be with the pandemic. So what are your thoughts? Do you think we should we not? Anybody have any ideas? Anybody? Thumbs up, thumbs down? That's seemingly as much as we want to get together and as much as we want to do it, I think that it's not, I think I would rather see you guys all next year than risk getting together this year. So I think that that's a decision that we should make for this year's, but hopefully we can get together sometime before, next year. So, all right, without further ado, it looks like Councilman Bezel Dewitt is back with us. So if he would like to take the floor for a few minutes, he has a few things that he'd like to discuss with everybody. Welcome, Councilman.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniel, for your organized meetings. And also thank you to everybody on this call. It's awesome to see we've got over 30 people on a neighborhood meeting on Tuesday night, and so it's always inspiring to see how engaged Buckner Terrace is. We do have some exciting things coming down the pipeline in September. On the September 22nd agenda, we will be passing. We will be looking at the item to pass for where the Timberlawn property was, which is a new development. We've got the developing group and their consultant, Rob Baldwin, on the call tonight. They're going to give a little bit of a presentation to show you all, and then we want to hear from you as well. I want to say a special thanks to Principal Joseph and Officer Joseph for being here. Principal Joseph, welcome to the neighborhood. Thank you for all you do for your kids. Please don't hesitate to reach out to my office anytime that we can. DISD is not what I represent, but I used to teach with DISD. My heart is still there. My daughter goes to DISD. And we want to make sure that we set you up with all of the tools that you need for success to keep building up our community school at Edna Rowe. Officer Joseph, thank you for being here. And thank you for presenting with your stats. Officer Joseph is an awesome guy who's doing a lot of outreach right now and connecting different programs actually with Daniel. I know that shocks you all, but to get the kids engaged with the law enforcement, there's been some very successful events that have happened in the district so far with our state representative, Jasmine Crockett, myself, and DPD, and also y'all probably didn't realize, but Buckner Terrace Neighborhood Association has also been really helpful in promoting these events. We've had events where we had over 50 kids flying kites with officers, going out and fishing with officers, and we're going to continue those outreaches. So please look for any opportunity that you can volunteer or help out with those efforts to bridge some of those gaps that we have existing. And last thing that I'll say is tomorrow we will take up budget amendments, the first day of budget amendments. This is always my favorite time of year. We have concluded all of our budget town halls. So we've heard from the constituents in each district where the priorities lie. Now it's what I like to call Hunger Games at City Hall. And we'll be all fighting for the funds to get the things done that we we want to get done. But there's a lot of great things in this budget. I encourage you to take a look at the budget on the City of Dallas website and the proposed budget. And then I also encourage you, if you have the opportunity or time, to tune in tomorrow or any of the subsequent budget workshops that we have until passing it on the 22nd of September, so that you can weigh in and tell us where your priorities lie. A couple of the highlights, I won't stay long because I know y'all have presentations, but a couple of the highlights is we are going away from the COVID restrictions of hiring officers. We were down to 50% and only doing 125 within one fiscal year. And that's now going to increase because the restrictions have been lifted on the class size. So that's going to be 250 officers in this budget. At the same time, we're also investing in expansion of the right care. And the right care is our response that is a team up with DPD and mental health specialists and our behavioral specialists with the county that responds to any of the mental health calls instead of just sending our units. It's freed up a lot of resource time. It's helping us address the issue at hand instead of ignoring mental health. So I wanted to highlight two of those things because this budget is really fortunate in that we are still investing in law enforcement, but we're also investing in where a lot of the root causes of crime exist. We have several $1 million now that is going to be going to continuing to light up and remediate blight in some of the most violent crime prone areas. Overall, though, citywide, we're down 16% in crime in all violent crime categories. So, it's going to be interesting to see the data come back. And I do believe there's going to be a strong correlation of COVID and the circumstances that we all dealt with through the bulk of the pandemic and kind of adjusting to a new way of life and where that violent crime existed. And so it's good to see us on the other side on the crime aspect. In addition to that, we are investing $72 million in homelessness. This is going to be the most aggressive approach to homelessness this city has ever taken. We have contracted out and going to have 96 caseworkers that are going to actually do outreach with our team. I was a very strong advocate for that to happen because and as you all know, any kind of encampment abatement or cleanup that occurs is really just an appeasement to those who don't like to see it, but it wasn't an investment in mitigating homelessness. And if we're going to invest in homelessness, this is really going to be something out of the box that I'm excited to be a part of and excited to see the result of. We have the capacity and the ability to, within the next 2 years, house 2,700 individuals with this plan and the partnerships that we've created with some of the neighboring municipalities and even Dallas County as well. So super excited for some of the things that are occurring with this budget. It's a once in a lifetime budget. We increased, we got a $335 million influx because of the American Recovery Plan Act, and those ARPA funds has been spread out and sprinkled into a lot of initiatives that we never would have been able to accomplish without it. So I'll hear from you. If y'all have any questions from me, please feel free to email me or call, and I'm going to turn my camera off because I'm also on another neighborhood meeting.
Hey, Councilman, do you have a quick second for a clarification?
Sure.
Okay, so when you guys see and you hear things like the last time that this budget meeting came around, one thing that we heard a lot of and Councilman took a big hit for was defunding the police. And can you just explain the things that came from that money that was saved on the overtime? And was the police office or the police department impacted by not having the money to actually cover their overtime now that they've used all that overtime, but did they just not put officers out on the street, or how did that all roll out?
No, thank you for that question. And in fact, we actually have an audit underway for the overtime to kind of really dig into it. Overtime for the police department has been abused. It's been used in different ways that we are going to continue to focus on efficiency and accountability. It's taken a year to provide this audit, and we're not even going to get it back to use that in our passing of this budget. And the reason why is because there's handwritten records. It's a hot mess, to be honest with you, but it's a $30 million hot mess. And to me, that's unacceptable. $30 million for overtime alone when we are continuing to increase the force is something that we have to address, because I want Chief Garcia to have the money that he needs to have to spread out for the best and most efficient use. The overtime has definitely not been that. And we have studies that we spent a lot of money to show that. So I did reallocate some of their overtime money. And that was to not only put patrol on the ground faster than what we can hire them so that they can have more resources, but also to remediate blight and light in the areas that we have targeted from high crime, that we have invested in new light infrastructure and cleanup and remediation of some of the blight. We have seen a decline somewhere of 46% in those targeted areas of crime. So it's showing that an investment in communities that have been underinvested in and underserved is actually giving us better results. I will give you a spoiler alert tomorrow. I have another amendment, and I am going to cut the overtime again. I'm going to take $3.4 million this time and leave them with $28 million. So that's $7 million per quarter that I want to see their feet held to the fire for. With that, I'm going to purchase an additional 30 squad cars for Chief Garcia to split up double elements. And the only reason that he has 2 people in some cars is because he doesn't have enough cars to do it. So even though we're hiring 250 officers this next fiscal year, they're not going to be on the street for another 12 months because of training. So this amendment is going to allow for people who are already trained and ready to go and get on the force immediately with these new vehicles. In addition to that, the remaining $1.4 million of this overtime cut that I am proposing is going to go to more towards the lighting and blighting effort in the high violent crime areas. So that is what I'm excited about with that. Thank you for the opportunity to clarify that, Daniel. And we're going to keep working hard with our chief and our command staff and our awesome NPOs so that we can do most with what we've got.
Did you answer did I miss it? Was anybody shorted a police officer, or were they afforded not to have patrol even if they needed overtime?
No,
they found the money is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, they absolutely did.
Okay.
But I will be able to give much more of a detailed answer once I have that audit. But no, the chief will tell you no one less went on the street because of this.
Okay, I just want our neighbors to know that, because we heard a lot of beating up on you and the other council people that supported that resolution.
Yeah, you probably saw it on the highway too.
Yeah, and lots of little flyers, banners. I think some of those mailers, it was just disingenuous. And, I want people to know, because we do support you. You are our neighbor, not just our council person, that, you do have our back and you are working for our community. So when you hear those other things, supporting our councilman is very important. So we can have disagreements, but at the end of the day, we need to support and understand. And if you have a question about it, before you assume that it was just all bad, there was a real good reason to reallocate that money, and knowing that they had the commitment, if they needed it, that they would have it from the reserve. So it was always something that it was never going to be where they didn't have the resources they needed. So thank you, Councilman. Does anybody have anything else for Councilman Bezeldua before we let him go to his other meeting? Excellent. Sounds good. Thank you, Councilman, and have a good evening. All right. So the next thing that we have Rob Baldwin and Matt Johnson. They are with the development at the proposed development at the former Timberlawn site. I'll let them talk about it. And I don't know if they want to share. Rob, do you want to share your screen?
Sure.
We've already heard about this. I'm trying to figure out how to let you share. Does it allow you to share yet?
Not yet. You need to go down to share screen on yours, since you're the host, and say, allow multiple people to share.
Okay.
Well, we're getting there. Thank you all very much for having us again. I think we saw you in April, May of earlier before the summer. I'm Rob Baldwin, and I am a planning consultant to help people navigate city approval processes. Here we go. And with me tonight is my client, Matt Johnson, and he's with Wilbo Company. We are processing a rezoning request is Z201-160 at the old Timberlawn site, the corner of Samuel and Grove Hill. We're requesting rezoning from R75, which is the current zoning, to a planned development district for single-family uses. There's a total of 19.44 acres. It'll be a mix of both single-family attached and single-family detached homes, so townhomes and patio homes, for a total of 156 homes. Part of this development, Wilbo's agreed to dedicate to the city a 3.5-acre park site along Samuel. It went to the City Plan Commission in May, and it will be going to City Council, as Councilmember Bazadul had said, on September 22nd, hopefully for final approval. Wilbo is a developer of single-family residential communities. I've been working with them since about 2000. They're based out of Australia, but they've been in the DFW area for a long time. They're not builders of homes. They are actually developers. So they take raw land and develop it into lots. They're currently have 7 active projects in the Metroplex right now, and they sell approximately 400 to 500 lots a year. They do a lot of work. And I've worked on them 2 projects in Dallas, one at High Grove in North Oak Cliff, right up by St. Cecilia's, if you know where that is, and the Villas of Lake Highlands, which is just off of Plano Road. So the original plan called for, this is Grove Hill, this is Samuel. Homes along Grove Hill Road, there will be a masonry fence, solid masonry fence along Grove Hill. There'll be an entrance off, this is the original plan. It's an easier one to talk to. There'll be an entrance off of Grove Hill, a full entrance here, and then you'll see in a future plan, there'll be emergency exit here. But the main entrance and exit will be off of Samuel. As you see, the original plan had a large park area in the middle, detention area, and then trails connecting all the homes to the main park area. After we originally filed our rezoning request, it came to our attention that the neighbors would appreciate if we could look into doing a park for a public park for the neighborhood. So our plan changed to reconfigure our site and donate 3.7 acres of parkland right on Samuel at Grove Hill. The beauty of this is this property is deep enough where most of the large trees that are out there that you can see from Grove Hill and Samuel at this intersection will be protected and saved and incorporated into the park. Like I said, there's 81 attached lots. There'll be 2 stories, ranging in size 800 to 2,000 square feet. Average sale price in the mid to high 300,000s, and 75 detached lots, which would be 2-story. Some of them will have a 3rd-story option. So if someone wanted to get a view of downtown, they could put a 3rd story up there. Those will be larger, 2,550 square feet average, and average sale price in the mid 400s. So this is a conceptual plan of what we think the park would look like. As you can see, our entrance will come in through the park. They'll be divided into 2. There'll be a more active area here with a tot lot and trails and playgrounds and just a place more for families. On the other side, it would be a more serene space, not as active. There'll be trails. The council member and Daniel would like to see some, maybe some senior exercise equipment there for exercise stations. And there'll also be a proposed gated dog park here. So that is our proposal so far. The idea would be if we can get the cities to help us with the funding. We got, it looks like we have the money to dedicate the park, but to build it, we need some additional money. And if that comes in, and I think it will, the park we built at the same time as our proposed development should the zoning go through. So if the zoning goes through on the 22nd, it will take probably 9 months to go through the platting and planning process to get city approvals to actually start moving dirt. Once we start moving dirt, that's going to be probably another year of work. So houses will probably start coming on the ground in late or mid 2023. So with that, I'm here to answer any questions, and so is Matt. So Daniel, I can't see everybody, so if you can direct their comments, I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you for bringing that up. And this was, the park was actually something that Councilman Basil Dua brought as a requirement for the developer, that he was insisting on that, because there's a good section of these trees that I don't know if anybody's driven in there, but there's one giant tree that was at the entrance of the old timber lawn, and there's a pecan grove of a lot of historic pecan trees. So this 3.72 acres that they are dedicating was absolutely huge. If you actually walk out there, it's it's a good size, and it's going to be a very nice size park. But I think that we'll work this out. And, you know, I know that people at the city and Councilman Basil Dua's office are working through the details right now, because it is an expensive project. But we're very excited to see this coming. Does anybody have any questions about the development? One thing that I do know, we haven't decided, or the developer hasn't decided the name of the development yet. And if people can recall, a while ago, we actually did a poll, or not really a poll, but we asked for suggestions on the neighborhood website. And I'm going to post the names that were on the neighborhood on Nextdoor. I'm going to post those in the chat. Just give me 1 second, and then people can take a look at them. But the names, let me see. Hold on 1 second, everybody. All right, so the names that were in the chat, there's a lot of repetitive ones. Samuel Heights at Buckner Terrace. So all of them are going to have Buckner Terrace in them at one way or another. So Samuel Heights at Buckner Terrace, Timber Terrace at Buckner Terrace, Timber Estates at Buckner Terrace, Timberwood at Buckner Terrace, Timber View at Buckner Terrace, Buckner Terrace Estates, or Buckner Terrace Heights. Sound off, neighbors. What y'all think? You know,
I like
what?
Estates and Heights.
The first one that I saw today, I hadn't seen, like I hadn't gone back to that post for a long time. And the first one that I saw was Samuel Heights at Buckner Terrace. And I kind of liked that. I kind of liked, because it's right on Samuel Boulevard. And the other tie to it is the housing development next to it is Tennyson Village at Buckner Terrace. And I thought Tennyson, or at Samuel Heights, if anybody knows down at Samuel Grand Park and Tennyson Park, Samuel Tennyson is that park down there. So it kind of emulates the Samuel and Tennyson down the street. It kind of ties us together. That was my thought. But what y'all think? Because like I said, at the end of the day, it's the developer that gets to make the ultimate decision. We're just here to give them some feedback and some, guidance. The only ask that I put on top of it is that it include Buckner Terrace in the name and on their plats, to make sure that we identify it as part of our community. So anybody else have any ideas?
That's not something that needs to be determined tonight.
Yeah.
We can have like a contest. We're a ways away, but we'll consult with you before we file for a plat, because the plat will have the name in it.
Okay, so you hear that, everybody? So take those and work with them. If you have any other suggestions, make sure you get them back to us. But I think we have a good start, and I think we can't, I'm sorry, Ms. Jen, we can't say Grove on anything. Sorry. We just can't. So I've tried to say Pecan Grove or something like that, even to myself, but because we fight the name Pleasant Grove coming into Buckner Terrace and trying to distinguish our neighborhood as its own identity, we can't add Grove to the name. Sorry. No.
Hey, Daniel, real quick, just so you guys know, when we name our projects, we always like to try to understand its historical significance within the surrounding areas. So we're all ears. We'll take anything into advisement. So
absolutely,
if anybody has any other great ideas, please send them our way, and we'll evaluate those as we go along.
Awesome, thank you, Matt. Does anybody else have any questions about the development? Anybody? If anybody does have any questions, please do let me know. I can get in contact with them at any time. And we can, so I think they go before council like the 22nd or 23rd of this next month.
22nd.
Okay, so I do know that unless we reach the final for the park, that I'm sure it'll be delayed until we get there. But I think I have confidence that we'll get there. So
we need to get there. That has to close on the property.
Right. No, I understand. But on the side of the neighborhood,
we're gonna get there.
Oh, I believe wholeheartedly that we'll get there. I think there's a lot of people working really, really hard to get us there. But you have the commitment from me as the neighborhood leader to, hold the development and, keep y'all informed if we're not going to get there. So, but I have every confidence that we'll get there. I don't think we're too far away from that at this point right now. So
I agree.
We're almost there.
And Daniel, feel free to invite us back, in the fall, we'll give you an update. So if you need some entertainment for one of your meetings in the fall, give me a call. I'm happy to stop in.
Excellent. Thank you so much for coming and sharing the information again. Just as an update to the rest of the neighborhood, the other development is, if you've driven by it lately, we noticed that there's a whole lot of new streets built out in there. They haven't connected them at Banting Way yet, but they are almost done with the streets, and they should start pretty soon with the other things within the community. And I was told that they would probably start building early in this fall. So that's, I mean, y'all, we're already in September, so we're almost there to fall. So we should start seeing the first houses being built in Tennyson Village at Buckner Terrace very shortly. Some good news and bad news. Good news for all of us, because we're already homeowners here. The price point of that neighborhood is actually going to be jumping up a little bit. I was told that we were originally going to go at about 400 or 350,000. We've been told that it's probably going to be significantly more, probably in the 450 range for the starting homes. So that's good for all of our value, and thankful that we already have our values on our homes, so that we don't have to pay that increase. Does anybody have any questions about that development? There's 232 homes going in there, single family homes. So it's going to be real value added to our community. Hey, another another topic. How many people have driven by CVS and by Long John Silver and seen those donation boxes from Coleman or Susan B. Coleman, Race for the Cure? They were pink boxes, donation boxes, and then about 15 or 20.
We got a Long John Silver's.
Is it long? What is it now? Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's Captain D's.
Oh, Captain D's. Sorry.
I love the Crispies. Sorry, I was excited.
You were excited. You're like, I'm
Hey,
on my way.
that's good fish every once in a while if you know how to do it.
Yeah. So, but with that being said, I got a call from Coleman today, and they are working on getting those boxes either removed or they are going to ensure that they are kept clean around them. So they're working on that, or we're working on that. But if you see that kind of stuff, that's a 311, like on the app. When you see blight in the neighborhood, you see businesses that haven't mowed their grass, when you see potholes in the parking lots, the more we report, the more ammunition the city has to hold these businesses accounted for. That whole shopping center behind CVS is a center that we could have redeveloped and get rid of the blight. We have drug deals that are going on daily at the car wash, but they're smarter than, because they're just continuing to do it, but we have to report it and we have to call it in. Potholes, the trash, when they're not maintaining their property, call that stuff in, do 311 calls. When you see what you think is a drug deal, the more calls, the more action from our law enforcement, from our code enforcement, and it gives the opportunity for us to do that. The more encouragement that we can get from code and police would hopefully get it to the point where the seller that is not responding to the requests, we have a developer that's trying to buy it, to redevelop it, but they don't want to sell it. So we need your support to encourage this property owner to become a good property owner in our community, so that we can either have them step up to the plate and redevelop the property, or bring it up to a standard that's becoming of our neighborhood, or we can try to get them encouraged to sell it to somebody that will. So is that, I don't know if that's politically correct, but we definitely, we want, if we want to see improvement, we're going to have to work together. I've told everybody, our neighborhood itself is absolutely wonderful. The fringe, the businesses, and some of the apartments around us are what's our struggle. I do know that we are working, Councilman Basil Dew is going to do some fancy footwork in his budget amendments, hopefully, to acquire some land over by Skyline High School. See how I put
You're
that out
letting the
there?
cat out of the bag.
No, we've already talked about the rec center, the possible rec center. So we want to put a rec center over by Skyline High School. If you remember when our TC Broadnex came to our homeowners meeting, he identified our rec center. You know where our nearest rec center to our neighborhood is? It's Pleasant Oaks, which is 5 miles from our neighborhood. There's 4,000 students at Skyline High School, thousands of middle school and elementary kids, and nothing for them to do in this vicinity. So as your park board representative, I've been pushing and fighting and begging and bugging and pushing and pushing and pushing for our park department and our councilmen to find us some money. And it's only $3.5 million if anybody has any laying around that you want to contribute. But we're trying to purchase that property, that big empty field, and we're trying to put a recreation center that will be becoming of our neighborhood. And I can't tell you how excited I am. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. I believe it to be happening, because, when I want to get something done, we get it done, right? So, and that's only because we have great support of our community. And otherwise, I couldn't do anything if we didn't have you guys pushing and supporting. So work together, put in 311 claims or calls when you see something so that we can get it done. And I know like that Super 7 motel where there was just a murder, that's going to be on the list with the community prosecutor. I'm actually working with the neighborhood north of 30. It's called the Ferguson Road Initiative, if anybody's ever heard of it. I'm working with Vicki Martin from that, and we're collectively meeting every other month with our community prosecution team, the neighborhood police officers, and a lot of people. We're all going through a list of properties that have issues, and we're monitoring if there is extra crime, not as much crime. And if they're not having crime, we're okay with it. But if there's crime, we want to address it before it becomes a major problem. So we're working on that. But does anybody else have anything else that they would like to bring to the group? No? Mr. White, hold on, you're muted. You're muted. There you go.
Yeah, I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Has anything been done by TxDOT or to take care of the walkway across the highway in front of Walmart?
So
I've been up there, went up there one time and it was just a mess.
So the last time I drove through, I think Saturday, I drove by there and I didn't see any tents up there. On the overpass. That was a gift from a former council person, and that gift keeps on giving. But we can be thankful for that $3 million that was there. That could have been our rec center right there, y'all. But that bridge going across, unfortunately, does draw some homeless encampments on it. But what did we say earlier? What do we have to do if we see things like that? We need to report it. I'm thankful they did pass that $72 million homeless initiative stuff for rapid rehousing, and they've got a plan. I think that's the first time that they've had a plan since they've they had $20 million in the last couple of years in budgets, but they didn't do anything with it to actually solve the problem. So I'm excited that they've actually made some efforts to do that. When you see the homeless folks in our neighborhood, I don't know if people travel around outside of Buckner Terrace as much. I'm all over a lot of times, and we see homeless in every neighborhood all across the city. We're not unique. It's not special to us. We're not bad because, our neighborhood is just as nice as everybody else. No, don't let anybody else tell you any differently. Doesn't that sound like a mama or a daddy? But I love our neighborhood. I know each and every one of you love our neighborhood, or you wouldn't be here supporting us in our neighborhood efforts. Together, we make our neighborhood better. So report it. And that will hopefully bring the resources to the neighborhood from the homeless stuff, that rapid rehousing, and all of that kind of stuff. So that if we don't report it and we just let it go on unreported, it will never be addressed. So that's the important key. Report, because the city is turning to a data-driven model. If it's not documented, it didn't happen. So any other questions? I can't wait, y'all, to have these meetings in person again. I think we need to go for a couple more months because of the variant, but I can't wait to see everybody in person again. Does anybody else have anything else? Anybody? Mr. Derek.
Hey, Daniel, how are you doing?
Good. Good seeing you, sir.
I just wanted to echo what you said with the 311 app. I just want to challenge everyone to please download and utilize the 311 app. I started doing it and they actually reply, they respond. Yes, we have people still returning to areas. We have the homeless returning to the areas, but I think if everyone uses the app, we'll get more focus on this area. So just please, if you have a chance, just download the 311 app. I think it's if you go to the Play Store, Google Play Store, or the Apple Store, I think it's our Dallas app or something like that. So
I'll post it on the website and on Nextdoor. I'll post those apps on there so that everybody can find them. But absolutely, I can bring code enforcement. I can bring parking enforcement. I can call and I can get all these people to come. Has anybody gotten any parking tickets for dead vehicles on the street? If you have dead vehicles near your home, report it to 311. Take a picture of it, report it to 311. And then when you get that service request number, Councilman Basil Dua, if he gets that in his email, there's a little elf behind his email box that you might not see a response real quick, but I promise you, they send that email up the chain, and that's usually resolved really quickly, especially when it comes from Councilman's email address, because they don't like to hear from him. The city staff.
Yeah, I'll just quickly add to that. I just want to say, like, there should never be this issue, but I promise you, as you would assume, there's a difference when I turn a request in versus when I hear from a neighbor that they have, right? They're on it. And so I don't want that to be any different. So I want to send in all of y'all's. So send me your service request, and I will then make sure that it comes again from me, just as if I was putting in a service request, and make sure that you're getting the best possible service. And also, I've seen when they get closed, and I want to make sure that we address y'all's issues first.
That's good to know.
Yes, ma'am. I put my email address and my cell phone number in the chat. Y'all please save that, use that whenever you have it. You don't have to go through the whole spiel of what you did or what the service request was, because you've already done that on the app. All I need is you to give me that service request number. And if it's your first time texting me, please make sure to remind me who it is and your address as well, so I can save you.
Good. I'll send you some of mine.
Thank you very much.
I've been dealing with this for some time. I've even had to go. My name is Monica. I'm sorry no one can see me. I'm still learning the Zoom thing, but
No worries.
I'm real active. I'm on Turfway. So I'll get some of my neighbors who do not attend these meetings or don't know about the homeowners. So I'll go ahead and get the word out about 311 and 911.
Awesome.
But a little disappointing though in code. I mean, I've had to contact other people within code compliance when I want something done. There's a home on Larkin, or is it Lanyon? I can't think. It has so many bushes and trees. This home is abandoned. I put in a service request and I still see it sitting there as if nothing was done. So yes, I get mad, and then I have to go above whoever to get the results. But at this moment, that home is still sitting there full of just overgrowth. No one lives there, I'm assuming.
Well, I want to tell you the power of using the 311 and Our Dallas is exactly what that is. It's to build up that data and to support it. So when I first got in office, District 7 was and the lowest, one of the lowest of all districts in service requests being put in. We've been pounding this message, and I'm so thankful for y'all all who are using it, and everyone across the district, because now we are in the top 3 service requests in the district, in the city. And with that, there's 31 new code enforcement officers that are going to be added to this next fiscal year budget. Out of 31 citywide, our area is getting 9 of them. So it pays to do the processes that sometimes seem frustrating. And I know that there's a process that you don't see necessarily, but I promise you it's working and it's going to bring us results over time. So keep using it, keep giving that data, keep sending them to me, and I will keep following up with them. Okay, so what I'm going to do, the ones that I see closed out for no apparent reason, when it's visibly something wrong, I will send them over to you because it's, like I said, this one property I've been reporting has just been sitting there untouched. And I would be happy to bring, if you send me an email or a text with your issue specifically, I would be happy to coordinate a time for myself and a code officer to come out there and meet you and see the issues firsthand.
Oh, okay. Get ready for a long day then. But
y'all are my boss.
Monica, if you have a list of the service requests that you've turned in, sorry, I was trying to get to you and I accidentally.
Oh, that's
muted
fine.
you. My apologies. If you have a list of all of the service numbers that you've already turned in that they've closed, just send a list of those to the councilman's address in the list. And I promise you, they don't ignore his request, because
Great.
your request becomes his request. So we understand your frustration and you've come to the right place, because collectively, this neighborhood, when we come together, we always get what we want.
Well, great, because I've been sending it to the city manager's office. I'm thinking, come on, I put this request in. It's
So,
not, and I've even had to go out there and show them
Right.
where this issue is.
I can give you an example. I called the city manager's office and I said that there's a lot of dead cars on the streets in our neighborhood. And I actually called parking services first, and I asked if they would come out and do some proactive work. I didn't want to turn in anybody's specific neighbor or anything like that, but I know that there's a lot of cars that are on the streets that have been on flats, not running, smashed out windows, all that different stuff. And we've asked for them to come out to, tag those cars and tow them out now proactively. I can get the police department to do it all day long. I could give that address to Brian Joseph today. He would take care of it tomorrow. Okay. But we're trying to get our police officers to actually do police work. So we asked parking services to do this. Parking services told me, oh, I'm sorry, we don't do proactive work. So I sent a message to the city manager's office, and with 30 minutes, I had a call from the parking services manager and said, hey, Mr. Wood, we'd like to come out to your neighborhood and do some proactive parking enforcement. So if you could give us some streets that this is on. So they've had a little bit of encouragement, and now they are doing some proactive work. I might have to nudge them again a little bit, but definitely the houses, the abandoned houses, it does take time. I don't know how long you've been dealing with it on this one. Their hands are tied a lot, because property owners, regardless if they are good property owners, have a lot of rights, and they have to go through 30 days, 45 days, and then they have to notify them for different, it goes through a lot of different steps. So it is very frustrating, especially when I would say that majority of the community takes care of their yards and their homes. So
well, I try to make sure they do.
Yep. So, but awesome. Thank you. Does anybody else have anything else?
Yes, one more question. When's the next meeting? I'm going to try to get more of my neighbors on board. I want to thank Denise. I know she's out there. Thank you for giving me that text, but I need more of my neighbors attending.
So you can find all the meetings listed on bucknerterrace.org. It's our neighborhood website. And they're always the last Tuesday of every month. And it's always the same address, bucknerterrace.org/meet, MEET. And you can always get to us that way. So, and then when we start to have them in person again, we'll have them at Edna Rowe Elementary at probably at 6:30, because we do the crime watch right before it. So, all right. Thank you for inviting. So I challenge everybody that's here, bring a friend with you next time. We have 30 people in the group this evening. So hopefully the next time we'll have 60. We normally have 50 to 60 people, but I think Zoom is kind of wearing everybody out. So try to bring a friend with you or a neighbor with you next time. If nobody else has anything else, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Jesse, and seconded by Mama Linda. All in favor? Hallelujah.
Aye.
Thank you all very much, and y'all have a great evening.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.